Hello and welcome to our webinar discussing the important connection between your ERP system and your B2B integration solution and why it makes sense to look at modernizing these two important components of your IT landscape together. My name is Ville Parkkinen and I'm from OpenText, and I will be unpacking this relatively complex topic with you to hopefully provide some interesting thoughts that you can bring up and discuss within your own organization. So let's dive right in. Now, to set the scene, I want to focus on a general observation that the ERP landscape in organizations is really undergoing a major change, to the extent that we can actually talk about a proper wave of modernization taking place. And according to a 2021 study by Gartner, around 70% of organizations are planning to modernize their ERP system, whereas 16% say that they have already completed modernization for one or more of their ERP applications. And among the key drivers for this development is the overall move to the cloud, and we're seeing this with the ERP systems as well. However, companies have different strategies around taking their ERP to the cloud, with some opting for the software as a service model, such as SAP S/4HANA in the SAP Cloud, or Oracle NetSuite, or other software as a service offerings, whereas particularly some of the larger organizations are looking at sticking with the ERP software license model, but then deploying the software in a cloud environment, such as with the hyperscalers, including Microsoft Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud Platform. Now, many companies are also seizing the opportunity to redesign their business processes in connection with moving to a new ERP system, often linking it with a broader digital transformation program. And another opportunity that we see organizations seizing is consolidating their disparate ERP systems that may often involve regional deployments with different ERP vendors or systems acquired, for example, as part of mergers and acquisitions, into a single global instance to unify and standardize their processes. One of the key advantages that the modern ERP systems have over older generation platforms is the ability to support real-time data processing and analytics, which along with improved user experience is also a key driver for making the move. In some cases, such as the end of support for SAP ECC, vendors are also actively pushing their customers to adopt their latest offering, which then creates further pressure for organizations on top of the performance improvements that are likely to be had from modernizing the systems. In addition to the ERP, we're also seeing organizations looking at modernizing other business applications and systems. And a main reason for this is that ERPs are often integrated with various other systems, and these in turn have a significant impact on the overall business process performance. And it's this last point around integration that I want to dive a bit deeper in this presentation. So, as I said, integrations play a key role in the functioning of ERP systems, which also makes them an essential consideration in an ERP modernization project. According to a study that we did with IDG in 2021, 91% of organizations are looking to modernize or adopt new solutions for ERP integration, which really means that more than 9 out of 10 companies realize that their old integration tools are not sufficient for supporting their future plans and needs around their ERP system. In that same study, we also asked how much of the data that is processed in ERP systems comes from external sources, meaning suppliers, customers, partners, and other systems outside the organization, and the average turned out to be around 44%. Now, this is the extent to which B2B integration solutions and their capabilities impact the functioning of your ERP system, and it is this share of almost half of the data that is processed in ERP systems that we want to focus on in today's presentation. Against that background, it's now time to turn over to our main topic for this webinar, which is the reasoning behind why enterprises should modernize their B2B integration solution in connection with transitioning to a new ERP system. And I've summarized these reasons into 4 different areas. And the first one is around fixing common issues that are currently impacting and hindering operations that many organizations are today facing. So we see many organizations that are still using legacy technology to run their B2B integrations, and they're really having issues with visibility into their B2B transactions. They're often slow to onboard new trading partners and overall have poor governance over their programs. And these issues with B2B integration typically reflect into the business side as well. And one of the most common areas that is impacted is customer satisfaction when, for example, errors with incoming orders are not identified on time, which can then result in delays and other issues with order processing and delivery itself. And it can also be very frustrating for the customers when their support requests around their EDI or B2B integrations are not answered on time, or when the initial onboarding takes excessive amounts of time. And finally, many legacy tools are unnecessarily complex to run and maintain, explaining a lot of these challenges that I discussed just now. And any changes can be challenging to perform on these solutions. And this all impacts the efficiency of operations when people have to spend a large amount of their time dealing with issues and incidents caused by the technology rather than focusing on optimizing business performance. Now, the second reason for modernizing the B2B integration solution in connection with an ERP migration is improving the risk management around the main ERP project. And I would argue that this is probably the biggest reason why organizations should be looking into this topic. So a key part of modernizing B2B integration solutions is identifying and documenting the specific requirements around connections with external partners. And when these are known, they can really be accurately incorporated into the integration test planning, thereby reducing the risk of surprises and issues during go live of the new system. And on top of careful test planning, it's also important to mitigate any disruptions during the actual migration. And one of the ways to do this is to test the new ERP system behavior already in pre-production by simulating the real business activity using production data from the integration platform. And this helps to minimize the risks of encountering any unforeseen issues once the new system is taken into use. And the final point that I want to raise up here is really that the project timeline. So this is something that can easily lead to extra costs through needing to book more hours from your ERP consultants and so on. And integrations are unfortunately often treated as an afterthought, which makes it easy to miss requirements or underestimate the time that it takes to migrate old connections or build new ones. And therefore, incorporating integrations as a strategic consideration already early on in the project can help to avoid many of these issues that we've discussed, including slipping project timelines. Now, the third reason for leveraging modern B2B integration capabilities when you are migrating to a new ERP is really that it allows you to maximize the value of the new system by supporting things like real-time data processing, which is a key differentiator for modern ERP systems against the previous generation solutions. So supporting real-time integration through, for example, API-based connectivity is actually table stakes for modern integration solutions. But what is often overlooked is the role that integration solutions can play in improving operational data quality through advanced data validation, business rules, automated workflows, and other advanced data processing features that these integration solutions can often provide. And this is potentially a huge value add in terms of improving efficiency by reducing the number of errors across the different business processes. Now, modern integration solutions also allow adopting new capabilities down the road without creating bottlenecks on the integration, unlike the legacy integration solutions that are usually bound to do so. And finally, the fourth and final reason that I want to cover here relates to the synergies between modernizing B2B integration together with the ERP system. So when you migrate to a new ERP, you will need to invest in integration regardless of what technology you are using. So at the very minimum, you will need to reconfigure the existing integration maps to accommodate the changes in the ERP data model. But if you are making significant changes in your business processes, this will likely require a completely new development of those existing integrations. So the main reason why many organizations are still running B2B solutions is actually not that they don't have issues. This is something that is very common, but that migrating to that new solution often requires a sizable investment, whereas staying on the old platform is technically free, And the potential savings and the ROI from that migration project would need to come directly and fully from the difference between operating costs between the old and the new solution. Or alternatively, then gaining some strategic benefits that can often be very hard to quantify, even though they are extremely important and should be a key consideration when considering a migration project for the B2B integration solution. Now, ERP migration really changes that equation so that the switching costs become significantly lower due to the investment that is required into the old platform. And in addition to leveraging the lower switching costs, the discovery work around ERP integrations can actually be leveraged to support the blueprinting of the new system, because in order for the ERP project team to define the data model for the new system, they really need to know what requirements your trading partners have regarding the data that you share with them so that those can be worked into the data model itself. And this work is often time consuming, which in the world of IT equals expensive. So by leveraging your B2B integration experts in support of the blueprinting phase, this can both save large amounts of money and significantly speed up the migration project itself. And lastly, having the flexibility of that modern integration platform allows complementing ERP capabilities by moving some of the logic and customizations that would otherwise need to be built within the ERP itself onto the integration layer. And this obviously requires careful design and should have good reasoning behind why to do so, but it can add tremendous value in situations involving exception handling, predefined conditions, minimum content validations, and other factors where the data, if it enters the ERP system and is flawed, can cause really significant issues for your business processes and would take large efforts to manage by customization within the ERP system. So if we assume that based on what we just discussed, modernizing your B2B integration solution in connection with migrating to a new ERP system is a smart move, that then leaves us with the question around timing. And you naturally have three options that you're looking at here. The first option is that the B2B modernization can be done before the ERP migration, which helps to address any of those existing issues and provides a good foundation for the ERP modernization. However, this approach likely requires some extra work on the integrations, since they are first migrated from the legacy integration platform to the new integration platform, and then need to be reconfigured for the new ERP system in connection with that ERP migration and once the new ERP system is taken into use. And this can be an optimal approach, but obviously you have to weigh the pros and cons in your own situation. Now, the second option is really to synchronize both modernizations and do them at the same time. So developing new integrations for the new ERP and retiring the old integration platform as the old ERP system is decommissioned. And this option also enables the new ERP system to leverage modern integration capabilities and addresses any issues as the connections are migrated. This is also likely the most cost-effective approach, since all the integration work is done all at once, so you don't have duplication of that work. And the potential drawback really is that you do create dependencies and compress the timeline for both projects, so it does require careful coordination and project management between the different teams that are working on these projects. And finally, as a third option, you can also leave the B2B modernization to a future date, but really the only benefit from doing this is delaying the budget decision and the cost. In the meanwhile, you will still need to invest in your existing integration solution to reconfigure or redevelop those maps, and will likely carry any existing issues that you may have into the new ERP system and potentially hurting its performance while you still run the legacy B2B solution to support it. So just before we wrap up, I do want to share a few thoughts around how OpenText is approaching all of this. So we offer a unified cloud-based integration platform for our customers that supports modern supply chain collaboration in a flexible and comprehensive way. And this includes the ability to connect data between any systems, both internal and external, using any integration patterns and connectivity types, as well as then orchestrating those data flows to support high levels of process automation. So in short, technology is really not a limitation, since pretty much anything can be done within reason with modern integration tooling. But instead, the focus should really be on building solutions that add the most value to the business and the ability to scale and adjust these as the business grows and business needs evolve. And identifying the right solution design really requires deep integration expertise as well as the detailed understanding of the business processes. And this is really why we deliver our services primarily as a managed service and work really closely with our customers to ensure accurate understanding of the business requirements. And while our experts are there to help our customers to set up and run their integrations, we do also offer a comprehensive set of self-service capabilities to then provide extensive visibility and control over the integration services, as well as the agility to make changes quickly and easily. And this way, combining the managed services with the robust self-service features, we can really find just the right balance of control for each of our customers based on their needs and also available expertise that they have in-house. So we really want to meet our customers where they are instead of forcing them into some rigid model that is too often the case. And this approach really helps our customers to reach their goals around having efficient and effective integration operations that support their business in an optimal way. So this is the end goal, but let's have a quick look at how we can get there. Particularly in connection with ERP migrations, we usually recommend a phased approach that helps to systematically review the requirements and identify the right elements for the solution, leveraging what we call our B2B data quality framework. The first step is really establishing that baseline, so understanding the detailed B2B requirements, and we do this through a B2B data discovery engagement where we deploy automated tooling and analyze the current data exchange with trading partners throughout the ecosystem based on a large sample of the real business documents. And the output of this analysis is essentially an ERP B2B reference data model that can then be used to support the ERP blueprinting process and gives a good foundation for the follow-up actions. Now, based on these insights, we then offer the option for the customer to dive deeper into those findings led by our experts to identify further opportunities for improving the client's current business processes, including remedying potential systematic errors that we may have discovered. So it really depends on what we find in that first stage. And this can also involve reviewing the client's overall B2B program and then help adopt best practices. So again, our experts do perform a large amount of B2B integration projects and are working with leading companies in the world. And we do this mainly through joint business process workshops, which can be complemented with value assessment and business case creation to really better quantify the opportunity and help communicate the required investment further in the organization to get the buy-in from executive decision makers and so on. Now, the work done during these first stages, whatever that may involve, really informs the solution design and scope for an integration solution that we then implement as a managed service on our integration platform on behalf of the client, including integration development and project management, as well as configuring any potential business rules and intelligence to achieve optimal business outcomes. So again, based on the needs, we'll bring in the components that are required. And then finally, after deploying the solution, we continue to monitor and manage the integrations according to the agreed SLAs, as well as collaborating with the client on ongoing error and exception management and provide that continuous improvement as well as the reporting for the client as part of the service. And with that, I do want to thank you for watching our webinar today and hope that you got some helpful ideas to support your own ERP modernization program. So thanks again and bye for now.